Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are putting 3 tinted moisturizers to the test. I have been testing each one of these for probably, I would say, the last week and a half-ish. Each one of these I have worn 2 to 3 times. So I have really put them to the test. I've tried them with different primers, different powders. One time I applied with a full face of makeup. The other day I wore it without any makeup just to kind of see what it would look like. I have a lot to say about them, a lot of footage. I do a lot of daylight check-ins so you guys can see what they look like out in the natural daylight. And I also wear each one of them for 12 hours or longer. So I really wanted to put them to the test in case there are many of you out there that wear, these products for a long time. Sometimes with some of them, I was putting a mask on and off. So I will kind of, break that down and let you know which formula I think is best for someone who wears a mask quite frequently. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight into the information about each one of these, and then we will get into the review. So the first one is the Dew Skin, and it has a nice pump on it. I actually picked this one up in the shade Tan. So this is what the shade Tan actually looks like. I will show you swatches of it next to a few foundations that I have in my collection during the actual review of it. The next one is the new Smashbox Halo. So this is the Healthy Glow All-in-One Tinted Moisturizer. And I bought this one in the shade Medium Tan, but I just picked up a new shade. This one was a little bit too dark for me, and so I went ahead and picked it up in the shade Medium. So this one is medium and this one is medium tan. Medium is pretty warm, so, keep that in mind, but definitely going to be a better shade for me. This one just comes in a nice squeezy tube. And then we have the Cover FX Luminous Tinted Moisturizer. I actually have 2 shades of this one. So I bought the shade Medium and I also bought the shade Tan. This one is the shade Medium and this is the shade Tan. Actually had to mix these 2 shades together, which I'm really glad I bought 2 shades. Because the medium is way too light for me. It kind of makes me look washed out, and the tan is way too dark. So I really need to mix them together. I have a lot to say about the shades from Cover FX. We'll get into that in a little bit. Let's go ahead and break down each one of them. And I'm going to give you the information really quick so you guys know what we're dealing with, what we're working with. Up here on the screen is my preferences when it comes to foundation, how old I am, my skin type, and all of that. So you guys can use this as a reference. It will also be in the description box down below, along with the list of the foundations that I currently wear and what shades I wear, just in case you might think that you're close to my shade. So let's go ahead and start with the Cover FX. This one retails for $39. You get 1 ounce, 30 mils, and it is $1.38 per milliliter. This comes in 4 shades. It has a luminous finish. It is a vegan and cruelty-free product. It has no SPF. It's a natural satin finish, and it is for all skin types. I will also say this one has a little bit of an illuminizer in it. So it kind of just has a tiny, tiny, tiny hint of an illuminizer slash shimmer look in the actual formula. Let's jump into the Beautycounter. So this is a new brand that was recently launched on the Sephora website, and it, like every product they have, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but every product they have, it has like hella stars, like 5 stars, like every skincare product, I'm like, wow, is this like brand like the best thing since sliced bread? I don't get it. So this is the Beautycounter. It is the Dew Skin Tinted Moisturizer. This retails for $45. You get 1.35 ounces worth of product, which is 40 milliliters. That makes it $1.13 per milliliter. This comes in 6 shades. It has an SPF of 20. It's vegan and cruelty-free. It has a dewy finish. It's for all skin types. And it is also formulated without a list of over 50 ingredients, meaning that this is a very, very clean formula that is not filled with a bunch of ingredients that you typically find in foundations and also tinted moisturizers. So it's without 50. It's crazy. Then finally we have the Smashbox Halo. This is a Healthy Glow All-in-One Tinted Moisturizer. This retails for $36. You get 1.4 ounces, which is 40 milliliters. You get the most in the Smashbox, and that makes it 90 cents per milliliter. So you get the most for your money in the Smashbox formula. This one has 12 shades. It gives the skin a healthy glow. It has SPF of 25. It has a natural finish, and it is also claiming to be for all skin types. That's what we're working with. Those are the details on each one of the products that we're going to be testing today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight into the video of me playing around with each one of these, wearing them, doing wear test, doing natural daylight testing so you can see what it looks like in the natural daylight. And then I will come back after wearing it all this time and give you my full final thoughts at the end. So I will see you guys then. I have a feeling this is very thick. I have a feeling based on the texture of this, I think the best way to apply this is with a brush and smooth it out with a sponge. So that's how I'm going to do it. Okay, so I'm just going to like stipple this in. Because it is a tinted moisturizer, I like to stipple the product and build up the coverage. I'm going to blend it down my neck. It is a little bit dark, but that's okay. It is really pretty, you guys. Like, I like the way that it fills. Yeah, it is a little thicker, so it's going to show brush marks. So if you are like me and you like to apply with a brush, definitely go over it with a sponge. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick up the rest of the product that's on my hand and kind of press it into my skin with a sponge, just to get rid of any brush marks and make it look as natural as possible. But this looks really pretty. This looks really pretty, you guys. I really like the finish of this, and it feels like it's set down. It doesn't feel super tacky. I mean, obviously I just applied it, but I'm curious how long this will take to set. But this actually feels and looks really natural. I mean, you can still see some of my redness peeking through, but I am totally okay with that. I got gunk in my hair. My hair needs to be washed, you guys. We're not even going to talk about it. My hair is so dirty. But you can still see some of my redness coming through, but it looks so good. Like, it really does look good. I just have a feeling, you guys, this is better with a brush. I feel like with a sponge, it's such a thick product that it might get too thick in certain areas, and I don't want a thick layer of this product on my skin. I just want like a nice even layer. That's why I prefer applying with a brush. I feel like with a sponge, sometimes you apply too much. Even though the sponge absorbs a lot of the product, it seems like you pick up the product and you go straight to cover up your texture. And when you do that, you put a lot of foundation in that spot. And then it builds on top of the texture and doesn't look good. So I would rather do an even layer of foundation, like an even layer, and then spot conceal with concealer to cover up. Okay, I actually really like this. I don't know how it's gonna last, but I love this so far. It gives the skin a very beautiful glow. Okay, I'm coming in real close. Obviously, I will do some, daylight check-ins and stuff. And again, you can still see some of my redness. You can still see some of but it's not that bad. It actually looks gorgeous. I really love the way this foundation looks. Let's turn off the ring light. You can see that this looks very natural. And in fact, it really blended into my skin. It's pretty glossy. It's pretty hydrated. So far, based on applying it, this is a really nice tinted moisturizer. It's got a lot of great coverage for being a tinted moisturizer, and I'm curious how it's gonna last. Right now, it kind of reminds me of the Laura Mercier tinted moisturizer as far as the coverage goes. It just has that great coverage, but it doesn't really look like you have makeup on. It just gives you coverage. It kind of puts some color into your skin, but doesn't make you look like you have foundation on. And that's what I love about tinted moisturizers. So this one I'm very curious about. So I'm going to go ahead and jump off of here, and I will see you guys in my next check-in. Okay, everyone, I am back for a midday check-in. It looks really cloudy. It's really cloudy outside. It just got done raining, which I always love a good rain in July in this heat, but it cooled everything down. I think it's only like in the low 70s, which is fabulous. Anyways, it is 4:44 in the afternoon. Now, I did forget to tell you guys what time I applied this. So I had to leave my house at 10 a.m. because I had to go to an eye doctor appointment at 10:45. So I applied this, I would say right around 9:15, 9:30. because all I did was apply it on camera and then I left. Literally left right after I got done filming up the application. Then I come home and finish the rest of my makeup. So it's been roughly around, what, 8 hours or so since I applied it. And I was just kind of inspecting my skin out here, and I think this looks so good for being a tinted moisturizer. I mean, I think the color is a little bit too dark for me, which I might, you know, I don't know, we'll see. Maybe if I get some sun, maybe it'll match me a little bit better. I think the shade might be a little bit too dark, but I think it actually looks pretty dang good. I think because I powdered it, I'm not really having any issues with it being like too tacky or anything, but I can tell you, if you don't powder it, this is going to be shiny all day. It's one of those that, you know, it's a shiny product. Let's go ahead and zoom you guys in. And yes, my skin is definitely coming through. My texture's coming through. But I actually think it looks pretty good over my texture. I don't think it looks bad over my texture. I really don't. I think it looks pretty good. I mean, my bronzer's a little heavy. I got a little carried away with bronzer today, okay? But, yeah, I think this looks really good. My Great Dane's like, pet me, pet me. I'm sorry, hold on, my sweet boy. He saw me outside and so he wants me to play with him. Okay, I just want to know how this is going to look over my texture. How's it going to look over my pores? And, you know, is it long lasting? And I think it looks pretty good. I mean, I can see it starting to kind of wear off around here, which is where my foundation will wear off if it's going to. It always wears off right here in this area. But I think it looks pretty good for, you know, we're on 8 hours. And like I said, I think if you put powder over this, it will probably last longer than it would if you don't. So that's it for this check-in. I will see you guys at the 12-hour check-in. So I just have my little tripod set up here on my table. This is not my traditional way of doing this, but I am in my, you know, studio, but I am so tired. I forgot I had to come back on camera. And I just about went to go to bed to take off my makeup. I just got done editing. It's been a really long day. Plus I have to get up at right around 7 o'clock. So I got to take my dog to the groomer tomorrow morning. But it is 1:11 in the morning. So this has been on for a super long time. And I feel bad I did not get down here quicker. I got caught up, you guys. I got caught up in life. So this has been on for a while now. And honestly, it doesn't actually look too bad. My eye makeup looks a mess. My eyes are so beet red, it's ridiculous. This tinted moisturizer to be on this long and look this good, I'm actually really impressed. You can see that it's kind of broken up around here. Of course, I always, like I said in my earlier video, I always lose it right here, always. If I'm gonna lose my foundation, it's like right along this area. So I'm not even gonna talk about that. I'm not even gonna make that an issue, but I think this looks really good. I really do. I mean, for 15 hours, I think my makeup has held up pretty good for wearing a tinted moisturizer. If you kind of look in this area, you can kind of see where it's like setting on top of the skin. But you guys, like, to be fair, who is going to wear their makeup for 15 hours? Most people don't, okay? So it's been an extremely long day for me, which is the reason why I look like hell. But on a typical day, I think this would give me a 12-hour. I think if you don't wear powder with this, this will probably slip and slide and it probably won't maintain coverage. But if you put a little bit of powder over it and kind of set it like I did with the Hourglass, I think this can last and fade very naturally. That's what I look for when I'm reviewing foundations. I'm not expecting it to look hella good 12 hours or in this case, 15 hours later. I want to watch to see how it breaks away from the skin, how it wears off of the skin. The one thing that I don't like is when foundation separates and you can see these like patches of foundation all over the skin. That is my biggest pet peeve when it comes to foundations and the way that they wear. So that's it for this Smashbox Halo Tinted Moisturizer. So next up, you guys are going to see me applying this Beautycounter Dew Skin Tinted Moisturizer. So I will see you guys in that application. So this is what the actual tube looks like. So it has a pump on it like this. I got the shade Tan. I think that's going to be a good shade. I don't know that I would call that tan. Maybe. Yeah, it's tan. So this product is much thicker. I am not so sure I can apply this with a brush. This is a thicker product, and I think the best way to apply this is with the fingers and maybe go over it with a sponge. So that's what I'm going to do. This product's just too thick to it's too thick to apply with a brush. I don't think it's meant. The Smashbox applied beautifully with a brush. This one, I wouldn't recommend it. I can just tell by the thickness of it. It just needs the fingers, you know? It needs the warmth of the fingers to blend it in, so. Okay, so I'm gonna use my sponge to kind of pick up whatever's left on my hand, and I'm just gonna, okay, so this doesn't give you hardly any coverage at all. I mean, like none, which is fine. You know, tinted moisturizers are different. You know, they are not necessarily made and created to give you a bunch of coverage. So you can't really expect them to give you a lot of coverage. This is just basically, I'm going to do 2 layers just to see if I can kind of build it up. But this is just meant to kind of even out the skin tone and, you know, bring some color to the skin, but without really giving you like a ton of coverage, which is fine. I am never mad about that. Like on the days that I'm not filming, I wear a tinted moisturizer all the time. I think it evens out a lot, some of the redness that I had right here. But you can see all of my imperfections coming through. You know, this one, I'm definitely going to need to spot conceal on some of my texture, just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to just take a little bit here and a little bit here and a little bit here. And then I like to take my foundation brush and I like to apply it. In fact, I didn't get enough right here. Maybe one like right here and right here. So basically, I'm just using the concealer as a foundation. So I'm putting it over, and this is, the color that I'm using in this Dior is 3 Warm. It matches the color of my skin. So I like to use this to kind of just spot conceal on just a little bit of those areas where I need a little bit extra coverage. That looks good, just adding a little bit of concealer. It gave me a little bit of coverage, and it actually looks really, really pretty. I think this looks really pretty, and it feels really good too. So this is a little bit more natural lighting. I wanted to kind of tune down the ring light so you guys can see what this looks like. I just have 2 like soft boxes sitting in front of me. So this looks really pretty though, you guys. I mean, it does. And it's glass-like though. Like I need to put powder on because this is not going to last very long if I don't. So I will see you guys in my next check-in. So I wanted to pop outside. It is currently 3:30. So what time did I apply this? Like 9:30? So I think it's been about 6 hours now. I still haven't gotten the rest of my makeup on. I put on some bronzer and some blush and, you know, the concealer and stuff, but I just, yeah, I have not made it to do my eyes. I'm gonna actually go do that in a little bit because I'm gonna continue filming another video. The thing that I don't like about this foundation is, I don't know if it's the concealer or if it's the powder. I think it's the powder because I really think that this foundation looked really good as far as, I keep looking down at my mirror. I went and got the one from my bathroom because I didn't want to go all the way downstairs to get the handheld one. But I don't know. I liked this foundation, or I liked this tinted moisturizer until I powdered it. It just kind of looks dull, which is weird. I'm kind of used to my skin like having a really pretty shine, and I feel like this actually mattified, and it was weird because it was crazy dewy. And I always put on a little bit of powder. All I used was my normal Hourglass powder. I didn't use anything different. Okay, so reason why I say that is because there's foundations that, you know, there's foundations that I wear that are like satin finish, and I'll put powder over it and my skin will still have a shine to it. Not a sticky shine, but like an inner glow. This is interesting. I've never had this happen before with anything. Realistically, I've never had this happen before. Taking a dewy foundation or tinted moisturizer or whatever putting powder over top of it and then completely changing it and making the foundation look dull. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't look bad, but it definitely changed that dewy, fresh skin look. I don't really love this one. I don't love this one as much as I did the Smashbox. I thought the Smashbox was really pretty. This one I'm kind of like, ooh, I don't think I like it. I just don't think I like it. I just feel like my skin's really dry. And I'm telling you guys, I have been using the Hourglass powder since it launched. I have never one time ever had that powder make me feel dry. Ever. Until today. Until I used it with this tinted moisturizer. So let's zoom in. I mean, it probably doesn't look real bad on camera. And it's starting to get kind of crusty. Focus right there. It's kind of starting to get a little crusty right around here. I don't like the way it looks on my forehead. I don't know. I've never had a foundation look this dull before. Guys, I don't know. I am not loving this. I am not loving this. This is not my favorite. With powder. Gosh, I just feel like my skin looks dull and dry and not good. I almost feel like I put on a matte foundation. That's kind of how I feel. I feel like I put a matte foundation on. So I am going to test this another day. Period. End of the story. I can't judge it based on this. I need to use it without powder and probably without concealer. I'm not going to film tomorrow, so I'll just run around the house with just that on with no, concealer, maybe underneath my eyes, but not on the face. We'll see you guys in my 12-hour check-in. Okay, everyone. I am back for my 12-hour check-in. It's officially been 12 hours since I applied it. It's 10:07. Let's get into this. I do not like the way this foundation has worn or looked on my skin all day. I feel like my skin is super dull looking and I do not like that. Here's my thing. I would rather not wear any makeup than have my makeup look the way it did today. Now, it probably looks good in these lights. Let me shut this ring light off. First of all, the ring light makes everything look better, you guys. This is what I'm looking more like in real life with no lights. Okay, the lights make everything look better. So it just does not look good at all. Okay, that's a good realistic image right there. So I'm completely blocking some of the lights, but still having the lights so you can see. And you can clearly see how terrible this foundation looks. I know it's a tinted moisturizer, but you guys know what I mean. So you can see where it's completely broke up right around here. I would rather not wear it. Sometimes it's not, it looks so much better on camera with these lights, right? It just does not look good, bottom line. So let me block the lights and see if you guys can see this side. I can't see in my monitor on this side, so I'm hoping it's working, but it just does not look good. Oh my gosh. It looks terrible. And this one's expensive too. The Smashbox was way better than this. But again, I don't know if it's because I applied powder. But here's my thing though. It's already breaking up along here. So my question is, it was pretty dewy before I applied powder. So is it going to be very long lasting without powder? I don't know. I'm going to test it tomorrow without it. At the end of the day, that's all I can do. So that's it for this check-in. So I'm going to go ahead and wear this one more day and I will see you guys all in my next check-in. I have tried these already once before. I did get the shade medium and tan. And let me show you guys what these shades look like. I actually have to wear a mixture between the two because it's kind of a large gap. And so I've been mixing them together. So this is tan and this is medium. This medium looks more like light. So I was curious to hear how the actual light looks because that is really light for medium. And I'm so glad that I went ahead and bought shade tan as well. So this is what the brush looks like. And supposedly you're supposed to put like a primer and your foundation and something else. I can't remember what it is, but just so that you guys can see what it looks like on my face, I'm going to take the shade tan and swipe it. See how dark that is? So what I've been doing is I've been putting a little bit on the back of my hand of the dark and the medium. And I just kind of keep mixing it until I feel like I get the right shade. That's about the right shade for me. So mixing medium and tan is best. Now, I have a feeling based on my experience with using this is best applied with your hands if you want coverage. Because this doesn't have much coverage. It really doesn't. Yeah. So that's what it looks like. Don't get me wrong, it blends out really easily. And it's almost like one of those products that you really don't have to go over top with, you know, the sponge. It does blend out good if you have a clean brush. If you have a dirty brush, you need to go over with a sponge. This is what we are looking like side by side. So before I go ahead and move on to the other side, I want you guys to see the difference. Not much difference, huh? I know. I'm gonna blend this in on this side with my fingers. Best application with my fingers. It feels like it warms up to the skin better. And then sometimes I'll go over it with a sponge just to, you know, make sure that I don't have any, you know, places that it's not fully blended or whatever. But I do prefer applying this with my hands. One that looks better applied with your fingers, and go over it with a sponge and build it up. You can build it to a nice light coverage. This is the side with the brush, and then kind of put extra coverage with the sponge. And then up here on this side, this is the side that I applied with my fingers, and then, you know, like pat a little bit more with a sponge. So the thing that I will say is that it's a little bit tacky, but this actually dries down better than some of the other tinted moisturizers that I have tried in the past. So even though it might be a little bit tacky right now, in about 20 minutes or so, it's not gonna be tacky very much at all. Even though it is a luminous finish. It is 10:40 in the morning. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump off of here. I will see you guys in my next check-in. It is 5:39, so it's almost 6 o'clock. So I think I applied this at what, like 11 o'clock? Okay, so it kind of feels a little dry. Now I will say I did not powder this. Not even a little bit. This sets down so that normally I will put on a little bit of my Hourglass translucent setting powder, and I will also put on a little bit of the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finishing Powder right here in this area. I did not touch it today because this actually set, and I felt like it might dry me out if I put translucent powder over it, because this one is definitely more of a natural satin finish. Both times that I've worn this, I don't love it on my wrinkles. I just don't. The only way I think this would be beautiful on the wrinkles is that if you had the perfect shade. If the shade you get matches you to a perfection, I think it would work. But if you're like me and you have to mix the two shades, or if it's a little bit too light, if it's a little bit too dark, like I mix the shades and I still don't get the perfect shade. It's still, you know, sometimes it's the perfect shade, and then the next time I pick it up, I might add too much of the dark, or I might add too much of the light. The times that I've used this, I have felt like I never get it right. I never get the shade match right. So I think if you had the right shade, it might look really pretty over your wrinkles, but because it's not, and it does have a little bit, it looks terrible over my acne situation I got going on. Because it has a little bit of shimmering properties, I feel like it emphasizes the texture and emphasizes the pores a little bit more. Let's do a zoom in. We're gonna come in real close. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. There we go. I've never loved the way this looks on my skin. I felt like it was just not quite right. But if you like look at it straight on, you can kind of see it's heavy in this area. So this is definitely one that you really have to be careful with the application. So that's it for this check-in. I will see you guys in my next check-in, which will also be my final thoughts. Okay, so I'm back to give you the 12-hour check-in on the Cover FX and give you my full thoughts on these. I'm going to make this quick because I know this video is long. You guys know I like to be thorough, and especially with COVID and nobody being able to go into the store and get samples of these like we used to, I like to be as thorough as I possibly can. So I apologize for the length of this video. It is currently 11:45, so I have had this on for over 12 hours. And my eyes are beet red. I know, I'm exhausted. I only got 4 hours of sleep last night, so I'm exhausted. So as you can see, the Cover FX is not holding up well at all. And one of these products is breaking me out pretty bad. I don't know which one it is, obviously, because I've been kind of swapping back and forth between the three of them. So I don't know which one is doing it. You know, it does emphasize a lot of this texture, a lot of the orange pill look that you get around the cheeks. I mean, it just does not look good. This is the second time I've worn the Cover FX and I'm not a fan of it. So I don't know. I mean, the ring light is making it look really good. Hold on. Okay. That's about real life. Let's see if you guys can see that. See how it's really, pulled away from the skin right here. See how it's like sitting on top of the skin? See how it's separated right around here along the forehead? I mean, it just does not look good. Not even a little bit. And it hasn't the whole time I've worn it. And I've been picking at this, so if I've lost coverage around here, that's my fault. I don't like this. First of all, I'm not happy with the forced shades. I get why brands do that because they think that it's a tinted moisturizer and it's a sheer coverage. Therefore, you don't need that many shades. I don't agree with that statement. You've seen the clear difference between medium and tan. When I put medium on, I looked like a ghost. It was so light for my skin. It will not work for medium. You got to be a light medium for that to work, not a medium. And so that tells me that there's so many gaps in that product, so many shade gaps. Like I said in my midday check-in, the only way that this is going to really be good for you is that if you get your perfect shade match. Because you can't go in store and swatch it, you're just taking a guess. I just don't feel like this is worth the guesswork. I really don't. Not my favorite product, and I just do not like it. End of the story, I don't like it. I've said that you could wear this underneath your foundation. I don't know why you would. I mean, you know, they're claiming that you can, but I just don't see why I would want to do that. I just think it would be kind of pointless. It does give the skin a luminous glow, but when you get older, with that luminous glow, it becomes a little bit textured and you can see your pores more, you can see your wrinkles. So I'm just not a fan of it. It just didn't work for me. The shades are terrible. I think it's overpriced for what it is. The thing that I will say about this one is this one sets down. So I can see how it might be okay for like combo and oily skin. Oily, you would have to set it with powder because I didn't powder today at all. And, you know, it sets down, but it just makes my skin look old and I just do not like it. So moving on to the Beautycounter. I didn't like this one either. This one, as you saw, it just made me feel so old. So I told you I was going to wear it one more day without no powder. It was gone within like 3 or 4 hours, which I had a suspicion it would because it's so dewy. It almost like pulls away from the skin, and because it's so dewy, it wears off so much faster. And so with this one, it was like, I need a little bit of powder to keep it on and keep it, you know, intact. But adding a little bit of powder dried me out so bad. Like it was crazy. I've never experienced that. Having a crazy dewy foundation or tinted moisturizer, putting a little bit of the translucent setting powder from Hourglass that I feel is so dry skin friendly over top of it and having it dry me out throughout the rest of the day. So I feel like this is overrated. Now, the only way that I would tell you to try and make this work is that if you're attracted to the fact that this one has such good ingredients. Like, you know, this one is minus like 50 ingredients that you normally find in foundations and tinted moisturizers. So if ingredients are really, really important to you, then I would try to make this work. I would try to tweak it and, you know, try to force it to work. But if that is not an issue for you, I would pass on this one too. I'm really surprised that this has got so many good reviews. I'm really, really surprised. I am. Like the day that I wore it without powder, I wore it for about 8 hours, and by the end of the night, I had nothing on my skin. It was completely gone. I had a few patches of it, but it was gone. It just kind of like ripped and just, because it was dewy. It stayed dewy for a long time, and I don't know. I don't get this one. This one really confused me. This one though, this one was worth the entire video. This is unbelievable. This, I think, is my new favorite tinted moisturizer. On the days that I don't want to wear foundation, this is what I'm going to be grabbing. On the days where I want a beautiful, healthy glow to my skin, this is what I'm going to be grabbing. This is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. One of the prettiest tinted moisturizers I think I've ever applied. The thing that I really love about this is that you get the best of all worlds with this. So you can apply a thin sheer layer on the skin and have that tinted moisturizer look, or you can build it to a light to medium coverage and make you feel a little bit more confident. It will cover up a little bit of the texture, most of the redness. Like, I got a really decent medium coverage out of this. So impressed that I went ahead and bought the lighter shade because I did feel like medium tan was just a little bit too dark. You could tell in the video it was a little too dark. So I went ahead and picked up medium, and I'm so glad that I did. This is fabulous, like so good. And I think if you're really on the hunt for that beautiful tinted moisturizer, I think this is great. The other thing that I like about this is with a little bit of powder, I was able to put a mask on and off all day, and it didn't wear off in a weird way. It faded, but it didn't wear off and start, you know, pulling away from the skin like some foundations do with the masks on and off. This is very lightweight, and the thing that I did not mention in the intro is that this is actually infused with its own primer. So you don't have to add a primer with this, which I appreciate. This one is a clear winner. I hated both of these, so I can't even tell you which one I like more out of these two. I just didn't like either one of them. The Smashbox made up for all of it because it was on point, beautiful. If you're looking for a beautiful, healthy, radiant, natural looking tinted moisturizer, I love it. Plus it's 90 cents per, it's like 90 some cents per milliliter. It was cheaper than both of these. They have so many more shades than the other two. This is a clear winner, you guys. I absolutely love this. Love it, love it, love it. So up here on the screen are the images that I took of the swatches of these next to a few foundation shades that I have, so you can see what these look like and use it as a comparison, you know, for your own buying purposes if you're close to my skin tone. So that's it for my video. I'm sorry about the length of it. I do apologize, but I like to be very descriptive when I'm reviewing things, and these were 3 products in one. So it is what it is. I hope that you guys are okay with that. So thank you for hanging out with me. If you've made it throughout the entire video, you guys freaking rock. I love you all so, so much, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Love you. Bye.